Hi, everybody. Like many of you, I am re-recording because I went way too long the first time. I think my first cut was about 17 minutes, so we're going to try this one again. My name is Julie Schumann. It is nice to meet you all. I am currently a second grade teacher on Fort Riley, and I'm excited to say that next year I'm starting off a new adventure. My husband and I are moving to Olathe, Kansas, where he will be a fifth grade teacher, and I'm going to be a fourth grade teacher. I'm married for about 2 years, met my husband at Kansas State. We were both training to be teachers at the time. I currently still live in Manhattan, Kansas, but I actually grew up in Hawaii. And I have an adorable rescue puppy, and that's who I will be spending a lot of my quarantine time with. To kind of start off with our mindsets, I absolutely reading through these saw these idealistic mindsets of a leader and said, yeah, I agree with all of these. All students can learn and grow, whether we are teachers or administrators. I think that all of us can kind of agree with that sentiment. That's the foundation of what we do. Teamwork makes the dream work. It takes a village to teach. I firmly believe that as well. And in a job where there's so much out of our locus of control, if we are making the deliberate choice to be happy, I think that will then make our days just go by a little bit better. Confidence, especially in the face of adversity and knowing that sometimes decisions will not be popular, especially if they're challenging. But knowing with confidence that that is what's best for your students is very important. Kind of going with confidence, being a risk taker and willing to drive your staff forward with things that, again, might not be popular. And I think adopting that sense of humor, really, again, just like choosing happiness, is something that's in your locus of control when so much about teaching and educating is out of our locus of control. Empathetically assertive, saying like, hey, I'm in the trench with you. This is hard. I acknowledge your struggle, but it does not mean that we lie down on our backs and give up. So it's acknowledging that there is struggle, but you need to push forward. And I think like any educator, especially an administrator, we must all be lifelong learners. Children are going to change year to year. Our practices have to change year to year, and that begins with professional development and seeking out information. Look at me flying through. I'm making it. Okay. So now switching over to our practices, I'm going to go ahead and move my screen for you. Much like me needing to re-record a 17-minute video, it's about focus and prioritizing and making sure that you have a clear objective. Examining feedback and data. Not only does that mean you're looking at the quarterly data meetings with your teachers, but that also means that you're seeking opportunities for feedback about your performance. And then not only just taking in that information, but what's the next step? What do I do to become a better educator and administrator? And then emotional intelligence. You're in a job where you're running into conflict and you're running into discomfort. And by being an emotionally intelligent person, you can better navigate a lot of that human struggle. And I'm going to move myself again. I kind of struggled. I've never been an educational leader. I've always been a classroom teacher, and I've been in positions of authority through committees and task forces and things. But I really looked at these principles of a leader as, how do I treat my students? How do I communicate with my parent network? And I'm not going to have the time to go over all 8, but I can tell you personally something that's important to me is making sure that I'm recognizing talent within my students and building efficacy in them. And I think that that's the same for an administrator, making their staff feel competent and important and valuable by recognizing their talent. So going into where I feel like I'm struggling a little bit, I think with the situation of e-learning right now, we've gone into a place where my classroom has closed. It's the first classroom I've ever had and the first school I ever taught in for the last 5 years. And without any heads up or warning, I'm no longer going to be in that classroom for the rest of the school year. And I'm going to have to completely switch my practices. And so right now I'm really working on the mindset of happiness is a choice and displaying optimism, especially for my kiddos who are probably feeling pretty high anxiety right now. That also goes into my disposition. I'm going to have to take risks and go in with confidence and a growth mindset, not only talking about it for my students, but modeling it through what I practice. Practice, focus, and prioritizing. As you could probably see, that's something that I need to work on. Miss Chatty Cathy over here. And for me, requiring high ethics from all, this sense of accountability through e-learning of making sure that my students are continually logging on and practicing so that they'll be successful when they move on to third grade. So, how does this support our students? I feel like this overall module helped us really see what administrators do that directly impact kids. Sometimes we feel like there's no direct connection, but by being able to look at the data and get to know individual students, we are then directly enabling them to perform better. And then what I see in this is a leader who builds up their staff and develops their self efficacy, makes them feel valuable, acknowledges their struggle, but then also encourages them to push forward even when things get challenging. And I think that's important for any administrator. I'm very proud of myself. We did it. Thank you so much for listening. I look forward to getting to know all of you throughout this semester.